let's see what's going on. All right, we got some people. Cool, right? All right, so this is my first Friday live stream. I've been wanting to do this for like 3-5 years, and it's a new year, so let's do a live stream. I'm gonna set up. I just have to get the YouTube bullshit. Sorry, language. The YouTube stuff on the iPad because I'm streaming there also with this other camera. But Instagram's gonna be better. YouTube's studio. And okay, views. No, thank you. All right, we'll see if this works. Okay, well, I was hoping that the live thing here would work on the iPad so I could check it out. Oh, check this out. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I have some stuff drawing already, so just bear with me for 1 second. Do I have to go to YouTube here? And so at least I can look at the comments from my insight because I have 2 YouTubes. Okay, let's try that. And hey, first Friday live stream is live. Close. Do I have to go to YouTube here? And mute this. So at least, okay, so at least I'll see comments on here. But I won't see Instagram comments because I have to like around the phone to get that. So that's gonna be it, but at least I can see some YouTube comments. I'm gonna, while Steph's in the wash and printing and stuff, I'm gonna hop around to look at the phone and check it out. So pardon my reach. I have some paper that I've already coated. So I'm doing this on, I'll show you in a minute, but clear print vellum, which is kind of like my new favorite paper for palladium or platinum. Because it is, one, it's like super thin, right? But it's not translucent like the Canson vellum where you would do like a live, like a gold leaf on the back. Right around there. But what's really cool is when you wax it, it has like a depth that I've like never seen in a platinum print. So that's what we're gonna use. So I've got my exposure unit set up here. Slide back to the loud. And this is gonna be a little bit loud, so during some of it I'm just like not even gonna talk because like you'll hear in a second the vacuum pump is loud. Cool. So my exposure is set. 3, 2, vacuum. So I have my whole, let's just make sure my stuff is really good. I can't keep going until integrator, it counts as use flavor for me. Oh right, because it is perfect. How it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the cameras just a little bit so that you can see the 2 setup here. I can't really coat anything while it's exposing, but I have 2 sheets that have the first coat, which is kind of like the deal with this paper, is like it needs a double coat. So let me spin my camera. Alright, so let's do the mixing chemistry. I've got my citric acid on the first back set up. So I don't boil, not really boil. I don't make my platinum developer super warm or super hot. This is, don't get it to just steam because it's winter time. And palladium and platinum works really good. So my darkroom when I came in this morning is like 25% humidity. And I got it up to 45 now, but that thing's been running all day. But I get hot water in a bucket, throw my jar developer in there, and I just mixed up new potassium oxalate a few days ago. Maybe 2 liters of that. So excuse me, please. already have my super fast and stuff, which is my first thing back. I'm going to throw in some silver sulfite. So I don't need to worry about my exposure time there. Because it kind of, I have it set for like, it's like some arbitrary unit, like 200,000 units per light. And it counts down how, there's like a little sensor in there that counts down how much it's getting. And so we're 3/4 of the way through. And it's been about 2.5 minutes. Usually my exposures are running like 5 to 7 minutes, which kind of puts us on track. So I'm going to pop around before this exposure thing happens. I'll pop around with the client just to see I'm not even sure if it's still well. Okay, so now it's just about halfway. That's kind of okay, so it'll be about 7-minute exposure. Okay. So I have two other, so the deal with this paper is that it really needs to be double coated. Otherwise it just looks a little like a wax weak. So I have two other sheets that have the first coat already. So while this plant is adhering that, I'm going to coat the other two sheets so that they're ready to print. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's. Oh yeah, I guess it's the headphones. Sorry. Yeah, it might just be like a hangout time because the AirPods should. All right, I'm gonna mess with the camera for a minute. Yeah, jeez. I think it's just. All right, I'm gonna disconnect the AirPods. Oh shoot, maybe I can get the AirPods on YouTube and it just won't show up on Instagram. Hang on a second, let me try that. Okay, so do that here. Okay, let me try to mess up the settings on the computer. Default is going to be AirPods. Okay. Now hop into the YouTube comment to see if you can hear that.
Sounds like, okay, I'm getting some messages I can hear. Okay, so I just connected the AirPods to the computer, so YouTube's working, and hopefully the phone is capturing that. I can turn off my vacuum frame because the exposure's done. Okay, cool. We're good. So, let me make this deal out here. So this negative, oh yeah, I might have messed up here. So it's inkjet negative, and I'm not sure if my negative settings when I made it was good because you can see, like, you can barely see the image come through. And unfortunately, with the way the cameras need to be set up and the cords going to the other room, I don't have a way to do the flash of like a developer. So you just have to take my word for it that it's amazing. So of course, and that warmed up a bit. Yeah, so there's not much printing out, probably because, I'm not sure, there's just a very slight printing out there. So, you know what? Because of how delicate this paper is, anything in the tray, if it goes in wet, it'll like suck the solution from the back of it. So let me try that for a second. All right. Okay, it works. It's a good print. That's the great thing about plating is you just flash it and that's good. Cool. So my calibration works still. Not too late, like I thought it might be. Cool. All right. Well, we'll let that spin a bit. Was there feedback in the audio? Ah, man, sorry. I'm not sure if it's because I'm too far away. Let me maybe pull down the audio levels. How about that? Is that? Oh, right, because that one. Okay, how's that? I think it's because I had the camera microphone on plus the AirPod microphone. How is that better? Um, yeah, echo is because I was getting stuff from the other side there. Cool. All right, I think audio issues should be solved now. So I'm gonna let this go for about 2 minutes, and then I'll plop it into the first clearing bath. I'll put this back in here so that it stays nice and warm. Towels. And when I pour off the developer, I'll show it to the camera. You can see what it looks like before popping into the clearing bath. And so I'll print this one next. This one from Lake Mead area, and then I'll print my Joshua tree. Okay, so you have 2 minutes there. With other papers, I'll give like 5 minutes of developer because the print will actually clear in the developer a bit. And the blacks will get slightly richer, like very slightly. But with some like cotton papers, you take whatever you can get. But with this paper, once you wax it, it is super dense. So there is the print. Put these lights up somewhere. There it is before the clearing. So it's still got yellow in here from the sensitizer, but blacks are pretty good. I'm just going to dial this back a little bit. So that will go for about 5 minutes. And I'll move on to the next image here. So I'm not going to do multiples of these. These are just like test prints. Everything is a test print, Jeffrey. Sorry. I know, it's a joke. Private joke. But yeah, test prints for larger prints. I also want to make sure the tonalities work with this paper this size. So I'll pour this back into my developer so it kind of replenishes and stays warm. And this this developer, the potassium oxalate, which you don't really want to drink or stick your fingers in, but it's fine. I mean, it's really not fine. You don't want to drink or put your fingers in it, but like a little splash here and there is not going to really kill you, especially if you get off your fingers. But I've had it since I think 2007 or 8. That's when I started that bottle. And you kind of just like keep pouring back into the bottle, and it will like almost get better with age. So when I get down to about a liter and a half, I'll mix up another 2. Um, Mostly because right now I'm only printing smallish prints. Um, Sometimes I'll mix up a full gallon depending on how things are going. But I kind of messed up here, and I was printing cyanotype. Let me put the cameras back around. Cool. So I was printing cyanotype, and I kind of messed up, and it was on the back, and it hit where I dry my paper, so I have a little bit of cyanotype that's on the back. Not ideal, but like I said, test prints. So this has the first coat. It's been sitting a little bit, so what I'm going to do is rotate just a little more. Is steam it up just a little bit more so the paper relaxes. Because it feels a little crunchy. And I mean, that's just the technical term is crunchy. Yeah, you can see my cyanotype goof on the back there. So I've got it cleaned off a little bit and have some paper towels down until I can like really pull out the drying racks and dry it properly. So hopefully you can see my coating area okay here. Dots. I usually stand on kind of on that side, but because of just how the darkroom is with cameras, it didn't really work out. So I moved my stuff around 90 degrees. Try this out. Okay. So first, with the brush, and get most of the solution off. Yeah, I do need a second. I just need like one of those stomp box things that change the cameras. So if anyone wants to buy me a second camera, no, I'm kidding. I can buy my own shit. Well, I can't, but you know. Okay, let's get that in a few minutes. Okay, that's there. So we do 10, 10. So I do these in like ratios of 5 to 1 for the thing I have to count. I can't talk. So I have 10 sensitizer. Ten metal salt, which is palladium, and I have 2 contrast agent, which is platinum. So the ratio is 5 to 1. So 5, 5, 1 is what I'll put on things. 1, 2. Or in this case, it'll be 10, 10, 2. And I'll put this as 2.5%. So all my contrast is built into the negative. I don't need a lot of contrast agent. Okay, so then you just do whatever you need to do. You bow to the right place. You spin around 3 times. And throw on your metal. And the paper does not like to, this particular paper does not like to soak up the solution. So it kind of like clumps around each, like it like pools a little bit in weird ways, which is why you need a double coat. And it's kind of probably hard to tell because I have my coating light. My coating light here is like down at a low angle, so I can see what, like if it's still wet, or if it's been like properly absorbed. enough to hang up without it like streaking or something. Uh, so I'll get this spread out. And then because the paper's so thin, it buckles. So I'll pull up one side and kind of pull it a little tighter. Because what you don't want to do is like brush hard, or you brush it all if there's like a little bit of crease, because like I just did right there, because you brush in a permanent crease in the paper because it's wet, and it's hard to get that out. So the second coat is less critical. You still need to get it smooth because it's already been um, absorbed like into the base of the paper, and so this just kind of like just pulls it down even further with the second coat, and it'll even itself out. And so I'm just making sure there's no puddles, and then I can peel some off and put it back in the jar there. Okay, I'll hang that up and let it dry for a few minutes. And it's a nice thing about the thin paper like this, even when the humidity in here is like 45%, it dries perfectly in just a few minutes. I might need to hair dry a little bit, but it won't be such a big deal. Okay, so there's one, and my second sheet here for the Joshua tree. Before I coat this, though, I'm going to swap that image or that print to the next bath. And ideally, you should be agitating these the whole time. Um, I never do. If I had an assistant, that would be their job. I actually just had somebody email me today about doing like a Darkoom internship or apprenticeship, which we might actually do. So there's that. Let me get some nice water in there because this is not all the way dissolved yet. And that is like double strength, so I'm going to put the 2 liters in. And that's, nothing super critical with plating. Um, Not like you need with silver where it has to be the exact amount for your developer and all that. Or your fixer needs to be the right, strong enough so it doesn't exhaust too quickly and all that stuff. This you kind of, it's just gonna go off by itself. So just enough to keep it where it dissolves that unexposed um, coating. Cool. So now we're going to do this one, same amount. Actually, this one I started at 882 for the first coat. I'm going to do the proper amount for the second coat. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. It might be slightly too much for this size. And two. But whatever's left, I'll just kind of whisk off and put it into the jar here. And just do it for the first coat for next time. And so I'm looking to make sure I have a sharp edge on the edge of the brush there. Um, I just coated that other one, so I know it's still sharp. And there's some solution, some palladium still on there. So I'm not going to worry about washing it, diluting what's on there. I'm just going to kind of keep going here. So one of the like I'm not okay. This is not an advertisement for a workshop. That's not what this is about. But um, I try. You'll see I'll stop right before the edge and then pick up at the edge, and that's so I don't flick solution off the edge of the page, which I did on a previous coding because I was in a hurry on one of the first codes, and so it actually ended up on the back of the thing because like it pulled on the side and it sucked itself like capillary actioned itself back under the paper, and we'll see that on that next print. I think it was on this. Yeah, it was on the one that's actually in the clearing bath now. That's why I did that one first because if it was messed up, at least it's on the first test print and we can have another sheet ready. But the palladium actually ended up on the back side, and there's like nothing you can do at that point. So that's why I stop right before I get to the edge, and then kind of start on my edge again and come backwards. So here's I need to be careful that I don't buckle the paper. I'll start peeling some off. I'm actually going to put this back on my drawing rack down here. And I'm going to get another one ready. So the paper, thank you. So this is the paper. It's this drafting paper, really. It's a clear print design vellum. You can get it with grids or like isometric grids, I even think. But it is 100% cotton, super smooth, um, and doesn't buckle as much as like I can't reach it because my paper's in the way, but the Canson vellum, or Vidione if you're Frenchy. Um, so So it comes in pads as well as rolls, and that's kind of what I liked about the idea of this is I get a 24-inch roll and just cut down, yeah, because tearing like that is I get torn up corners. Um, so there are a few more things to print here. Oh, cool. I'm gonna pop over and look at the other camera to see like if what's going on Instagrams. If there are any comments there. Um, doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, it says audio is not working on Instagrams. Okay, hopefully fix that. Um, that's just kind of how it's going to be with the Instagram Live, I think, because I don't have a way to get a second microphone onto the iPhone at the moment. Um, okay, so I'm just going to do half sheets at the moment here. See what this is. I'll pull that out and put it in the water in a minute. The one that's we've just printed. Um, that one. Let's do the Joshua tree. And then, yeah, we have the mountain too. Okay. Yeah, so this size is perfect for 2 negatives, but it goes right to the edge. Um, so I'm just doing like these basically 8.5 by 11 sheets of this vellum because it's 17 by 22 paper and just in quarters. And I don't think it matters which side you print on, because I haven't been keeping track of what's the front and back of this paper, and all the prints seem to be good, and it doesn't seem to coat any differently front and back. So I'm not even worrying about marking which is what. Um, if it was a any other paper, I would worry about it, but this seems to be just fine. So I have this mountain one from Joshua Tree from March. So I'll mark my corners. Ideally, well, not ideally, whatever adjective you want to use. It doesn't really matter if I mark my corners because I know I need to basically cover the whole sheet. But by marking the corners, I know that I need to absolutely cover at least of these spots I'm marking. Um, so mark that one. And actually, they should be the same size, but I'll put coxcombs. That's the mountains here on this one. I'll mark the other one as well. Oh, I really don't want the negatives here because this femur is there. Let's pop those over that side. Because, this stuff is made to be receptive to aqueous solution. And if you have a bunch of steam hitting it, it's going to actually add density back to the negative and throw off your calibration. So I'm going to make sure that large. There we go. Make sure to kind of stay away from that side of the room there for now. Yeah, so this one's a little bit smaller. So we might not actually print this today. Well, we're going to print it today, but maybe not on the stream just because this is only the first coat of this image, of both of these. So before I coat it, I'm going to toss that in the water to start washing. And then I'll grab the next one to expose after these go kind of in a light, safe place. Oh, you know what? I need to steam it up a little bit. It does help. It's amazing. Like just a little bit of flexibility in the paper um, really helps with how much it buckles when you're coating. Okay. Now I will rinse the brush a bit. So kind of dab off the water and then see, like, just kind of touch and make sure no water drops are actually hitting my hand. Okay. So I'm going to do the 8, 8, and 2 for this size again because it's slightly smaller than that other one we just did for the first coat at least, and because I have some splashes left in here. 8. And having the ratio go from 1 to 4 on the first one to 1 to 5 on the second is not going to really matter. Yeah. Because that second coat is mostly what's like forming the image and the contrast. The first one's like really was just bringing the chemistry into the paper. Is that bullshit? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't worry about it because it's just too much solution. Like 2 more drops is like, you know, 2 more drops is like a 2/10 of a milliliter. And for such a small area, that kind of adds up. Um, or it kind of ends up being a lot for such a small area on the paper. And especially because most of it sits on top. It's not like these other ones that really soak in on that first coat. So it's good. Yeah, and you kind of, I hope, I'm not sure if you can see this. Let me move this out of the way. Probably not. It really sits on the surface. Yeah, that's how I got a water drop last time. Um, I flicked a little bit too hard and it popped off the page. So I'm just trying to work, like, I'm not sure if it's like breaking down the sizing. I'm going to say breaking it down, but letting the sizing open up so that it accepts the solution a bit better. I've tried doing with just a single coat and you get weird blotches and the blacks are just not rich at all. It's almost like it's like really just sitting on top when you only do 1 coat. And I did not extend this far up if I needed on that first one. I guess it is good to have um, marks on here for where the image area is. So I missed it on the top. But, okay, so you can like paint in a little bit back and forth and just make sure you hit it on the second one. I use this paper with salt printing as well. Um, and it also needs double coating there, which is annoying with salt. So I kind of, salt is annoying as is. Just like, it's like most like alchemy it's like ever going to be, for me at least. Um, I want to go up to the Ostermans in Rochester and really learn from them how to make salt prints. It's like doing it on my own. Like, okay, I'll get 2 really good ones, and then they'll be garbage the rest of the day. Or I'll have a garbage one and then a really great one on the next one. It's like no reason, everything's the same. No reason that it should be that different. So, I'll mark on this one's the Joshua tree, and pop that down. Okay, so if I did this right, this one has both coats. Feels dry. I can get a moisture content meter and put it on paper. So it's a little bit too wet still. It really wants to be around like 12 to 15%. So I'm just going to let this dry some more and I'll cut the second sheet that we already cut down. And by the time it's done, that should be the right moisture level. Um, if it's too dry, you won't get rich blacks. If it's too wet, it'll print out too quickly and maybe stick to the negative. Excuse me. Um, this one here. So let's coat this first coat again, and we'll move on to printing those in a minute. Blah, 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 blah. So while these are drying, I just got a new photo book. So Darkroom Fridays and maybe Photobook Fridays is kind of how I'm going to think about the. Oh, I didn't steam this. I should steam it. We're going to do it right. Is that what they say? Um, So while these are printing, maybe I'll show you. I just opened the box and haven't actually. This is not an unboxing video. It's like, but I just I didn't have time. I was teaching earlier and then trying to get the stuff all set up, so I didn't have time to actually look at it. But it's a photographer that travels all over the country, but goes out west a lot and does large format color with a 5x7, um, and just had a new book come out. So it was Christmas. I had my workshop sell out, so I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a photo book. Okay, almost ready. And I will put that in the water before I cook this. It's been sitting too long now. And I'll do 8, 8, and 2 again for the first coat. And 2 of the platinum. You kind of see how it just sits on the surface. Even as I brush it, it'll kind of pull itself back up, um, which is like, it took me a little while, a couple sheets to get the hang of how this coats. But I think they've been pretty smooth since. Okay, that was on the, see how it's like on the verge of too light now? Those keep working it in. Maybe we'll give it a flick. Okay, so this one's asking for a little bit more for whatever reason. Nothing to do about that now. It might be because I rushed and didn't steam it enough. We'll see. That's like the funny thing about the live streams, if you're a little bit meta for a minute, is that I want to be like printing for myself and doing this properly, but also like not waste people's time on the stream. So I'm rushing some things where I wouldn't normally, which is like just a funny way to do it. So maybe I will do it more properly, like I actually should. Yeah, so you see how the brush is starting to separate because it's getting too dry. So we'll let that go for now. Okay, so in the 2 first coats on the drying rack. And I might hit it with the hair dryer just for a little few seconds here so I can print these both at once. It feels dry. I'll test it real quick. 13. What did I say, 12 and a half to 15? Yeah, 13, 13 and a half. So that's good to go. So we have this Arizona picture that I posted yesterday with a barrel cactus. And this one, let's see what this is. Oh, that was wood. Shoot. Just my paper. 20, that's a little bit too much. 16, 20, 18. All right, so part of the noise will be just a hair dryer for a few seconds here. So you can see, it's I try not to do like very low heat. I'm pretty far away and leaving quite a lot. And I don't want to do it from underneath because the paper is so thin, it's gonna fly away. All right, so it's between 17 and 20. You'll see what a little bit slightly humid, more humid print looks like. Um, oh, I wanted to print the Joshua tree on this one. That's what this is out for. There we go. Is it wide enough? Cool. So it's like a Joshua tree from my August trip when we were out there. Um, and my last morning, and I went, woke up at 4, got out to like the Echo Cove area. Okay, it's gonna be a loud vacuum. Can't do anything about that. Reset. Make sure my paper's put away. Fine. And make sure my counter is in the right spot. Cool. Um, cool down a little bit. Let's warm that back up. I usually print with perfectly, not perfectly, but like room temperature um, developer. And it's just because I want a slightly warmer print that I'm printing with warmer potassium oxalate. Like the hotter it gets, the warmer tone the print gets. And I'm wanting just a slightly warmer tone than my usual palladium prints. I need to see what I can do to get a slightly more reddish palladium print. Okay, it's going fine. Um, okay, why don't I clean this down a little bit and I'll grab that photo book while that's exposing. I can rinse that down. Maybe I'll grab a sheet of backboard or something, put it on. Do it this way. Put this down a bit so you can see better. So it's Victoria Sambusa. Sorry, Sam Bunaris. Sam Bunaris. Sorry. One thing I learned in having a kid that has special needs is that, oh, sorry, yeah, didn't mention that before. But I think I'm really dyslexic, like way more than I ever kind of imagined. Kind of looking at how we're teaching him to read, and like, oh, I have very similar problems reading, huh? Um, so anyway, that's fun. So transforming a landscape is the name of the book, and yeah, like I said, 5x7 color fill. And it's a cool binding. It looks like there's like the normal binding here, then there's like a big kind of spacer there, and it's published by Radius, which is, ooh, are they out of Santa Fe? Um, but yeah, published by Radius, and there's a little bit of a ding on it, but I can't do anything about that. So yeah, um, okay, maybe we can look at it this way. So it's a little easier. So I bought the signed ones. So let's see what the deal is back here. Oh, cool, man! This is why I love Radius. They also did my other like, most favorite photo book from last year, 2 years ago, with from Scott B. Davis, who lives in San Diego. Really interesting binding. Yeah, so you can see like contact print, um, like proof sheets, Colorado River. Yeah, it looks like some Lake Mead, right? That might be a Powell. It's hard to tell from the downlight here. Yeah, so Colorado Plateau. Cool. Yeah, man, there's a second book in here. Yeah, wow. It's like another, yeah, like typologies of ships, like container ships and cargo ships. Um, yeah, very cool. I, I'm glad I bought a six pack because now I'm gonna sit here and look at photo books all night. Um, yeah, I'm like not even into this yet, and um, wait, I'm sorry, I'm looking at comments. Um, yeah, so BE, the chemistry is Boston Sullivan palladium, and I mixed my own ferric oxalate. I had a really hard time mixing it last time, so I'm just going to use. I'm just going to buy more from Boston Sullivan pre-mixed, just because like it took all night on the magnetic stirrer trying to dissolve it before a workshop last year, and I just don't want to deal with that ever again. So I'm gonna get pre-mixed ferric oxalate, but everything else I get from Artcraft, like all the citric acid for the clearing bath, the potassium oxalate for the developer, all that comes from bulk from Artcraft Chemical in New York. Okay, so well, exposure's done. I can't wait to look at this book more. I'm an inspiring person, so save that for later. Okay, so I wonder what percentage of people are on YouTube versus Instagram. Um, just a couple people. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the YouTube camera because I actually have a viewfinder through here over to the developer so you can see it splash because my cord should be long enough for that. I just need to wait for the buffering to catch up so you can see it. And I'll move this one just over to the side. I think Martin, I think you maybe asked, yeah, what's under my light? It's just 24 volt, 5000K UV. No, I'm sorry, the 27K UVs. Um, or sorry, UVs, LEDs. That's what's under the. the viewing light here. And then, oh shoot, I forgot I had my viewing light, not my exposure light, or my coding light. So here's the developed out, or printed out here. And just resave a little bit. I need to organize myself. Um, okay, now we'll expose this, or sorry, develop it. And I'm going to be, because there's so much in the bottom of the tray, I'm going to plop the print in and pour at the same time. And kind of hopefully a nice graceful motion here. Good enough. About 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That never gets old, I have to say. Um, so what I've noticed in this paper is when it's a developer and even the clearing baths, it looks a lot lighter than what it dries down as. Because it still stays trying to kind of translucent here. And then when you get it, flattened, waxed, it just pops. And I don't think I'll have time today to do all that, but maybe I'll save like a few minutes on Monday or Tuesday. I probably, nope, can't, busy teaching on those days. Maybe next time we'll try to do a waxing demo, what that looks like. But I'll show you with one I have from last time that's waxed. So let that go. Pull this next one out. Oh yeah, so while that's in there, this, because I said that it was more humid, the paper had more humidity than that first one. That's how much that printed out. There's also a nighttime picture, and that's the shadows are basically a silhouette against like a dark sky, like early before pre-sunrise. So there's still like a little bit of star trails and super dark clouds. So it's gonna be a really dark print, and that's why those shadows are so dense in the printing out stage. Take a look at that. Okay, that's 2 minutes, and that's good enough for this. So trying to not get my fingers in it. Hold it up to one edge here, and so like the friction of the paper on the edge will make it stick at the top of the tray. I can pour all the solution off. Give it some shakes. So there's before the clearing bath. Yeah, super fragile paper. Not like a Japanese tissue, but it does tear pretty easily after a while in the water. Okay, let's do the next one. I'm doing my last Joshua tree, and then we might wrap it up after this. Okay, 3, 2, slash. There how's my coding? So yeah, this is like where you have a hard to tell because I have a shadow of my thing here. Ends up on the print there. But it's like if you have any problems with your coding, these kinds of skies are where they will show. And so I do have a little bit of a problem right there. Maybe I'll tell people that's a cloud. No, probably not because the clouds are dark. Um, whew, man, chocolatey, chocolatey. Um, That's gonna be so good in the waxed. Oh my god. Okay, check out this one. I'm just rotating the stuff that's in the wash here. It's just a tray siphon wash for these. I have a 20 by 24 vertical washer at the end of the sink, but those are really just for silver prints. Because like I'm not doing 12, 10. I think it holds 11 sheets of 2024. I'm not doing that many palladiums at a time. And by the time these get to that wash tray, that wash one's basically going to be done. And I've only gave these 2 clearing baths too, so these aren't like their final archival-ish prints. Like they'll probably last forever anyway. Um, but I'm not giving them the full treatment because test prints. Um, Very good test prints, but test prints. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will finish these. Let's see how it goes. Okay, let me pop back over here. Okay. So I'm gonna let this one stay here for a while, just so that first one clears out all the way. Um, it doesn't matter. So I'll flip this on this backside and pop this on. Um, okay, okay. Push them off, and then try to get it floated back down to the other side. Float, float. So that's after developer. Yeah, there's a nice, rich warm tone from like the slightly warm developer, and the very low concentration of potassium, or sorry, the Na2 palladium, sorry, Na2 platinum, which gives it more warmth as well. Basically, just enough to keep the highlights clear. Cool. All right, let me move this back over and reframe. But that's okay. All right, so it's about an hour. 7 people still hanging out. That's cool. Thanks for sticking with me. I cracked a. Okay, it's been a day. I cracked a beer an hour ago, and I haven't touched it. But it's 5 o'clock now, so I'm allowed. Let me switch this around. Okay, Cape May Honey Porter. I was trying to get a West Coast beer, but everything is still IPAs, and I'm not in an IPA mood, you know. So this Cape May is pretty good, and it's it's light enough so I can drive home, which is only it's like 5 blocks to my house, but you still kids on bikes, you're going to be responsible, all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, I might kill this here and print for a little bit while, but I'm glad that people hung out and with me while I printed for a bit. I'm glad we could like glad we could finally do this because I've been really talking about this forever. Um, so yeah, this might stay on YouTube. It might not. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, have a good weekend. I will hopefully see you next week. I'm going to try to do these weekly as like a Friday night thing. I was going to make a joke and say like it's the Friday night safe lights and like have football music on, but we're just going to do regular printing on Fridays because it's my kind of my cordoned off studio day. So anyway, that's it. I will hopefully see you guys next time. Adios. This is an awkward part where you have to figure out how to turn all the things off, like on a Zoom meeting. And now you have to run over to my computer. Yeah, okay. So much for graceful exit. Adios, everybody.